Man, this 555 deal's really popular.
Mr. Trump, here you go. 3 medium pizzas, $5 each.
Tell you what, I'll counter that offer with an even better one. Here's the deal. You give me those 3 pizzas, only I'll give you just $5 apiece.
Sure. Okay.
Still got it, Donald. Still got it.
Today, Domino's is a multi-billion-dollar empire, competing with giants like McDonald's and KFC. But what if I told you it all began as an unwanted pizza store and a story of unimaginable hardship? This is the untold journey of Tom Monaghan, a man who went from homelessness to becoming a visionary leader in the food industry. Tom's story starts in 1937, born on St. Patrick's Day in Ann Arbor. Just 4 years into his life, tragedy struck. His father passed away on Christmas Eve, leaving Tom and his brother Jim in a tough spot. With their mother unable to care for them, they were placed in a foster home. Can you imagine how lonely that must have felt? But Tom was a fighter. Even though his new environment was harsh, he never gave up. After 7 years, his mother was finally able to provide for them, and so she brought them back home, moving them to Traverse City. There, Tom met Father Russell Pacino, who became his mentor, offering him odd jobs and instilling in him a work ethic that would shape his future. Even as a kid, Tom had the heart of an entrepreneur. From selling newspapers to picking cherries, he was constantly looking for ways to make money. It was during these early jobs that he started thinking creatively, how could things be more efficient? This was the spark that would eventually ignite his business empire. But life wasn't easy. Tom's relationship with his mother grew strained, leading to arguments that saw him placed back in foster care. From farm to farm, he moved, working odd jobs to survive. Imagine walking to school every day, trying to hide your shoes because they were covered in manure. Tom hit rock bottom, living in a ramshackle farm with no electricity, frost creeping through the walls, and clothes full of holes. At his lowest point, he reflected, "How did I get so off track?" It was then he decided to change his destiny. He applied to a seminary, dreaming of becoming a priest. For a while, Tom found peace in the seminary. He felt at home, even when things weren't perfect, but that peace didn't last long. He was dismissed, told that he didn't have a vocation. His dreams shattered. Tom returned to a turbulent home life, where arguments with his mother only escalated. Soon, his mother gave up on him, and without telling him, she sent a police officer to fetch him after school and sent him to a juvenile delinquent home. It felt like the world was against him. But help came from unexpected places. His aunt and uncle took him in. Seeking a fresh start, Tom joined the Marines thinking it was the Army. Despite the mix-up, he embraced the challenge, pushing himself both mentally and physically. He read inspirational books, imagining a future where he'd build an empire. When Tom returned from the Marines in 1959, he had $2,000 saved, ready to start college. But a slick businessman scammed him, and suddenly, he was left with just $15, with nothing to his name. He hitchhiked from San Diego back to Ann Arbor, but Tom was resilient. He worked hard, saved up, and tried college again only to drop out, not once, but twice. Tom's luck seemed to be running out, but then his brother Jim presented a life-changing opportunity. A small pizza store called Domino's was for sale. Despite having just $77, Tom scraped together a $500 loan and took the plunge with his brother. But then, just 6 months in, Jim backed out, leaving Tom to run the business alone. The store was struggling, and Tom faced homelessness again. Sleeping in the shop, eating stall popcorn, and living off burned pizza, this was his reality. But Tom had a vision. When his staff didn't show up one night, he made a bold decision: simplify the menu. It worked. It was their most profitable night ever. From then on, he focused on simplicity and free delivery, a move that would revolutionize the pizza industry. Tom's gamble paid off, and soon, the second store opened, and that was a success as well. The more pizza he delivered, the more issues he'd encounter. It was hard to keep a balance of the ingredients staying moist and the crust crispy. So Tom asked a manufacturer to develop a box made of corrugated paper with holes, since it could strengthen insulation and retain heat longer. They were reluctant to make it, but Tom kept pushing. American technology is putting space satellites in orbit these days, and you're telling me you can't punch a clean hole in a piece of cardboard. Tom's idea ended up being extremely cheap and mass-producible. It inspired him to come up with more ideas that became the industry standard, including heated pouches, conveyor ovens, dough trays, and commissaries. But this wasn't the fairy tale ending yet. By 1969, he had opened 32 stores, but most of them failed, leaving Tom $1.5 million in debt. To save his company, he handed control over to a bank, which only made things worse. But when the bank returned it to him, he had a revelation. He dropped the initial franchise fee and required managers to prove themselves first, a move that paid off. By the 1980s, Domino's was unstoppable. Tom's policy of 30 minutes or its free scheme led to rapid expansion, and by 1984, Domino's was the largest pizza delivery company in the world. Tom even bought the Detroit Tigers. He had finally made it. Today, Domino's is worth over $10 billion, and its legacy continues to expand worldwide. This is the story of how an orphan who faced unimaginable hardships turned a single pizza store into a global empire. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for more interesting stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button